Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on which part of the world you are. I am Blackbright and I broadcast out of the United Kingdom around the world. And I kind of give my opinion on different subjects and things that are happening and how they impact each and every one of us. And today I was thinking about how we've been groomed to mistrust, how we've been groomed to distance ourselves away from others, and we haven't even realized it. And I was responding to one of my subscribers this morning, and it suddenly dawned on me how how we're being groomed, I should say. It's almost like I had a light bulb moment. So it might resonate with you, it may not. But as I thought about it, I just wrote down a few notes and I'm just going to talk you through them and see if it makes sense to you as it makes sense to me. Some of you will know, oh, it's obvious. Didn't you know that? Blah, blah, blah. And also, another thing is that I really respect feedback, but it must be constructive. It cannot be hostile. If it's hostile and I think it's going to threaten the peace of mind of my subscribers, I will mute it. There are lots of ways to give feedback without cursing and without being hostile and without being patronizing and without being, negative. So that's all I've got to say. If you want your comment to stay and for other people to give their comments on it, think about what you're going to say before you say it, and then write it from a perspective of how you can get the best out of everyone who reads it and who will respond. That's my only request today. So I hope this video finds you all in a very good state of health despite the weather, despite the situation we have with COVID and the restrictions therein and other home problems. So, am I going to add to those problems? Am I going to give you food for thought? I do hope so. So, let's see now. Groomed to mistrust, distancing ourselves from others. We're groomed for distance and separation. So now they've closed down the clubs. They've closed down the dancing. They've closed down those areas which promote intimacy. Because as you can see, pubs, it's out in the open, you can have a drink, everybody can see what you're doing, the lights are on, and you're an open book in a pub. And all the areas that they have kept open are open books. But nightclubs, they're not. They're seeds for intimacy. Lights are off, music are playing, people are dancing, some are smooching. So by closing down the clubs, you're separating people. You're separating that intimacy. And like I said yesterday, Zoom doesn't cut it. There's no intimacy in a dance party. You're just watching other people. And then if you're watching couples on Zoom dancing in their living room, it probably makes you feel even more isolated if you don't have someone to dance with in your living room. Now, if you have a Zoom party for couples, that might be something to go with, but then it isolates those who are single. So that's what I mean by grooming for separation. You can't get close to anybody unless you're already with somebody. There's little opportunity to have that human contact unless you go out of your way to get it. So we've also, the separation that they're grooming us for is through the 2 meters, the 1 meter, the home working, the shielding, the isolating and the quarantine. All of those instill fear. All of those make you feel a bit dodgy if somebody you don't know comes too close to you. Before, that was never an issue. Before, we'd shake hands, we'd hug, we would do all of those things that our spirit told us the person that we were meeting needed, or how we felt we needed to express ourselves. We didn't have to think twice. Now we're thinking twice. Anybody who we do not know, we're kind of hesitant. And it's not, I think it's gone beyond the coronavirus. It's gone beyond COVID-19. It's a psychological distance. When you have that psychological distance, that's been infiltrated in your mind, it's very difficult to change that. So even when COVID-19 is over, coronavirus is over, how are we going to relate to each other? How are we going to be intimate with each other? Are you really going to go? And the thing is, if they keep dances separated long enough, people may not even want to go back to a dance. They would have found other means of satisfying their wants and their needs within the parameters that they have. So we've also got the online shopping, which means we don't have to really go out of our houses and do any shopping. We don't really have to interact with anybody apart from the TV, the PC screen and your phone and the seller on the other side who's serving our needs, our immediate needs. You've got distance communication. You've got things like WhatsApp. You've got Facebook. You've got Twitter. You've got all of these ways of communicating, which means you do not have to interact human to human. And the thing is with WhatsApp and voice notes and all of that, you're not getting to see the body language. You're not getting to see that person's, there's no eye contact. And people can be contriving responses. Also, you're relinquishing your control. You might have a desperate message and you might want to you voice note somebody, because this is how we're being taught. This is how we're being groomed. A lot of people, they only call you now if they're desperate or if they want something from you. There's none of this calling for friendly banter or just to find out how you are. No, that is via a text. And that is an automatic thing. Oh, how are you? Are you okay? And the person, depending on how they feel, they might write one line or two lines, or you make too many mistakes, you get fed up, you cut it short, or you don't even bother to respond at all. You just do a smiley face. Because sometimes it takes too much effort to construct how you're really feeling. But actually, how you're really feeling could be a good way to get it across through that WhatsApp. If you took the time to state how you're really feeling, that person on the other end is probably not even interested in how you're feeling. It's probably automatic pilot response. Like when we used to go to work and they used to say, "Hi, how are you?" They don't wait for a response. You're supposed to say, "I'm fine." But if you dare go into, "Oh, you never guess what happened to me this morning. My husband had an accident," or "My children are they're not interested. They really aren't interested. But I was thinking, if you want to get something off your chest and somebody says, "How are you?" Type it out. Take your time. Type it out. Voice note it. You might just get one word back. You might just get, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Call me when you feel better." But you would have released that from within you, and you won't need you don't need a response, so to speak. You'll be doing this for yourself. And that is a way you can use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger to help you relieve that pain or frustration or anger or resentment, whatever it is you're feeling. When somebody says, "How are you?" you tell them exactly how you're feeling. If you feel like shit, say, "I feel crap. This happened, that happened, this happened, that happened." They're not really interested, but it doesn't matter. This is for you. You're doing this for you. So you might have a few that might say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything I can do?" You will find somebody who'll do that. And yeah, you can take that conversation up a notch. But the majority of people will just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Anyway, I'm just going this." Or sometimes they won't even respond. And you're at their mercy if you're waiting for a response until they decide to respond. So when you send a text or a message to somebody, don't wait for a response. Turn your notifications off for, I think you've got 8 hours. You can turn your notifications off. So you're not waiting for that ping, and you're not feeling rejected or neglected or abandoned because somebody hasn't responded. Because the thing is that you're relinquishing control by asking for a response, and that you're giving that person has power to either respond to you, ignore you. They can turn off whether or not they're visible or not visible, and all of that kind of stuff. So that you're giving them too much power. if you are relying on their response. But like I said, we're living in a world of distance where people do not want to know unless they need something. So we're becoming a more selfish world than we were before. So people text voice note rather than visit. When my mother was alive, I could go to my mum's house any time. Didn't need appointment, didn't need to say, Mum, I'm coming over. Didn't need anything. I knew that if I just felt like seeing my mum, I could go over there. Now she's passed. The house has been taken over by my brother and his girlfriend and my Down syndrome brother. And they're always out. They're always in and out. We have to make an appointment. I'd have to make an appointment to see them. And that is the same, like, this seems to be the norm now, even with family members. Remember the days when we could just get up and go and visit people, knock on the door? If they were in, they were in, and if they weren't, they weren't. And it didn't really matter. If they was in, they'd welcome you. If they weren't, now you're having to make an appointment to see friends. And it's under the guise that I may not be in, or I'm doing something, or I'm busy, or whatever it is. You cannot just get up. And that's how we're trained now. We're trained now to think about what the other person is doing instead of what we want. So no more impromptu visits, even though there are a few friends I can go to now that I don't need an appointment. Sometimes if I go to my daughter and if it's a wrong time of day or she's in a certain mood, she won't open the door. She needs to know I'm coming. Some people need to be prepared. Some people's places don't look 100% or the way they'd want to entertain you. That's the reason why they don't invite you in, or they say it's not a good time, or they just don't open the door. They peek through the window, see who it is, and they just don't respond. That is where we have got to now, where we cannot just pop in to see our relatives, our children. We need an appointment. And that is creating distance. And we're being groomed that way. We're being groomed that way. We're being groomed to be selfish, to think, I need to do this, I need to do that. I'm going to see this person within my time frame. It's all about control. It's got nothing to do about the reality of the situation. People have become so controlling that they cannot allow people just to be. They're afraid of people who just are. So like I said, if I want to go and see a friend, I've got to say, look, what day, what time, what evening is going to be convenient? And it's strange because people are always saying to me, oh, you're so busy. I don't know when to call you. Just call. To me, I think it's a cop out. If somebody turned up at my door, I would never turn them away. I mean, if I was doing a video, I would stop the video and redo the video to open up the door. If I know if I'm expecting a parcel, however, I would just say, hold on a minute, guys. I'd go and get the parcel and I'd come back and sit down and continue the video. Because this is a live situation. These are live videos. But I think it's an excuse when people say, oh, I don't know if you're in. Oh, I don't know this. Oh, I don't know that. I think a lot of people hide behind the fact that they really, really do not want to interact. I think on a subconscious and subliminal level, we are introverts. And I think a lot of us are quite insular. And I think a lot of us don't even want to interact with anyone. If truth be known, if you've got a loved one, you might want to interact with them and your children. But all these superfluous people who you felt in the past you had to tolerate or accept because of social norms, you don't have to do that anymore. So the real you is coming out. You're having the opportunity to express the real you. You now have an opportunity to choose. Choose who you want in your life, what you want in your life. And you can do it just by going on Facebook, by going on Google, by going on WhatsApp. If you want a conversation, you Google, you WhatsApp someone, you voice message someone. If you want an item, you go online. If you want to find out something, you go on Google. You do not need any human interaction. And that's why I've said we're being groomed for distance and separation. And all this quarantine stuff and you can divide and rule. Once people are separated, you've got no strength. Nobody knows what you're doing. Nobody knows where you are. You could disappear. And, by the time someone's found out, but, I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of that person for a couple of months. I wonder what's going on. You know something? I haven't seen, what's her name? I did that with a couple of my followers on Facebook. I hadn't heard from them. Now, I understand that Facebook actually selects friends that you are to interact with. I don't know how true that is, but I heard that they select who you interact with. Now, to be honest, I've got nearly 5,000 subscribers on Facebook, right? So there's no way I can actually read what everybody's doing. So some people, they put things on my timeline to post or whatever, and that's just usually to do with music because I'm a DJ. So they'll put things on my timeline, but then I only go on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook every day. Sometimes I put on these little motivational phrases, but I don't actually go into Facebook because to put up those motivational messages, you don't literally have to go in. You can do it from another app and share it with Facebook. So you don't even actually have to go into Facebook. So a lot of times I don't go into Facebook to actually look what people are saying and look what people are doing. And so a lot of times when I get these messages from people on the timeline, the deadline is already passed. But it's not intentional. It's just that Facebook isn't one of my priorities. It's a good medium to have. It's a good medium to share. But to say interact with everybody who's my friend, that would be impossible. It's the same like with my subscribers. I cannot respond to every comment. And sometimes I get these little sarky messages. Don't you respond to comments? I mean, please. Have you seen have you seen how many subscribers I have? I just cannot. So I think it's unreasonable. Where I can, I can. And where I feel certain people really need a response from me, I do. But that is totally different from, random responses that I feel other people could respond on my behalf. And that is why I say it's an interactive forum. Each of you can respond. If I can't respond, don't wait on me. If you know the answer, if you have a comment to make that someone, respond to somebody, always be respectful, but you can respond to somebody's. You're responding on behalf of Blackbright, whatever. So people aren't left stranded. You each support each other. So this is where we're heading. We're heading to virtual support, where we have to support people virtually in the best way we can. And so when you're thinking about how we're distancing ourselves and how we cannot impromptu visit friends and relatives and how we have become lazy and we don't want to make an effort and we do just send a good morning picture or we send a hiya or some video that you can send where you can only send them to 5 people. So now it's making people even more lazy. So only 5 people, and then you find that you're prioritizing who you are sending those texts to. So a lot of people get left on the wayside. And sometimes I have to consciously think, Myrna, you haven't sent anything to so-and-so, so-and-so. And sometimes I'll just take my time one day to make sure I touch base with all of those people on WhatsApp who are my friends. And I consider the majority of people on my WhatsApp are friends. I do have musicians that I don't know, of course, and I do have people who, business colleagues, who I'm not intimate with, so I wouldn't be connecting with them unless I found something that I thought was relevant to them. But this is where we've got to, peeps, and we have to really be conscious about who we are separating ourselves from now. Are they people you really want to be separated from because they have bad energy, or because you don't really like them and you never really liked them in the first place, and this COVID-19 and all of what's going on now is an excuse to separate yourself from them? Or is it just laziness? If it's laziness, make an effort to keep in touch. You know, the distance is going to get wider and wider and wider, and you are going to wish you had maintained contact with certain people. And don't just contact people when you need something. Contact people out of genuine concern, out of genuine interest. I know a friend of mine said, oh, you know, I must talk to you. I really want to talk to you. You know, this was at the funeral. Must get in touch with you. So she said, call me when you're not busy. So I called her like with it the same day. And he said, oh, she starts laughing. Oh, I'm driving. So I said, okay. So I said, you call me when you're busy, when you're not busy. Oh, no, we can't see her. We can't hear from her. You see what I mean? Now, if I was to drop dead tomorrow morning, oh, I was supposed to call her, you know, and I didn't call her. Oh, I wish I'd called her. But that's how it is. People are really, really not interested. You know, everything else takes priority. However minuscule that thing is, however unimportant that thing is to human contact, when you compare it to human contact, that will take priority over human contact. And you'll notice that if it's not your, and even within the family, people are separating. You're separating because you're on these phones. You're separating because of affluence. You have more than one PC. You have more than one phone. You have more than one TV. Everybody's got a TV in their room. Everybody has their own phone. Everybody has their own game station. Everybody is separated. And you have less and less in common, when before we were all around the table, all in the living room, and we would talk about our days, we would talk about our weeks, we would talk about our moments. All of that is gone. And you're groomed to separate. And you don't even know it. It's just so convenient. You don't have to worry about anything. Kids, yeah, I'll be with you in a minute. Just go on your PlayStation. You know, I've set up Netflix. You know, there must be something you can watch. I just need some time to myself. I just need some time to chill. And they never ever go up to see how their children are doing. They never go and watch Netflix with them. They just leave them to watch Netflix by themselves. Meanwhile, those kids are probably talking to their friends, and their friends are watching Netflix, and they're talking through the phone, or whatever it is they're doing. That is how this world has become. Or at least in the UK. I can't talk about the world. So I was watching my grandson the other day. He was playing a game, and he called a friend, and the two of them were playing the game through the phone. I don't know quite how it works, but it was quite fascinating because I saw a side of my grandson I wouldn't have normally seen. He trusts me enough to be himself. But my point is that that's how engaging is. Distance engaging. You're engaging, but at a distance. So, what else is there? I think I've said everything actually. Yeah, I think I have. So I hope I've given you food for thought. Like I said, if you don't do anything today, try and get some physical contact. Try to and have some genuine interaction with people. Call them. If you can't go and see them, call them. While you can. Once this lockdown is going to be worse than the next lockdown, you know, whenever it comes. And you're going to wish that you'd seen whoever you'd seen. I know my daughter went to a rave the other day, and look, 2 days later, £10,000 for anybody who has a rave with over 30 people. She took the opportunity when she could. You know, I see my children as and when I can. And like, well, I've got 3 daughters, but I saw one on Thursday and we went for a meal and that was nice. Seeing the other one on Monday because we're benefiting from the 50% off. You know, we have to make time for people. And like I said, yes, I am busy, but I will make time. I'm not going to shut my door. If anybody, any one of my friends, I'm not talking about strangers, but if any friend or relative was to knock on my door, you think I'm going to say, oh, I'm busy, you can't come in? Oh, you should have called. Why didn't you call? Oh, I can't do, I got this and I got, no, as long as I'm home. But that's not how it is with a lot of people. A lot of people really don't want to see you. A lot of people don't want you in your space, in their space. And that's how we've been groomed. And it's a damn shame. But anyway, I'll end it there. Bye-bye.